Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome back to another video here on the Wound Up channel. And in this one I figured I will talk about this watch that I've just been wearing now for the past couple of hours. This watch has been very nicely been lent in to me by a supporter of the channel, so thank you very much for that. This is, as you can see, a Breitling. It is a Chronomat Evolution with the reference number, which is here on the back, with the reference number A13356. And I gotta say, this watch is very nice. I've always been quite a big fan of these watches in terms of their design. I actually did own a 90s Chronomat a couple of months ago, and I sold it, which I'm not very happy about now in hindsight, because I mean, that watch was just beautiful. It was quite a bit smaller than these modern ones, but these modern ones are quite spectacular too. In terms of dimensions, this watch is 44mm in diameter, but even though it is quite large in terms of its diameter, the lug-to-lug distance is right around 48. So yeah, while it is in the diameter section of the specifications a large watch, it doesn't wear that large. In terms of the thickness, this is 17mm, which is quite thick, but they've done something quite great here. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't look or feel like it's a 17mm watch. It is a very heavy watch on the bracelet here. It weighs 200 grams, sized to my 19.5cm wrist. So yeah, it is definitely a very solid feeling and very heavy watch. I guess you would train your arm as you wear this, which is the plus side to that. The watch is entirely polished, except for the unidirectional 120 click bezel here, which is quite a nice bezel. It is very solid and has a nice clicky sound to it. It's very tactile, and of course, no surprise here, it does line up very well. In terms of the dial here, we have kind of a gray and black dial. We have applied markers and an applied Breitling logo here, the Wings logo, which I will show you here just by moving the hands. This does have a screw down crown, because this watch is water resistant down to a whopping 300 meters, which is quite spectacular for a chronograph watch. And this also means that, of course, the chronograph pushers are screwed in. So if you want to use the chronograph, you have to screw out the pushers, and then you can push to activate the chronograph. And of course, the same for the reset pusher. There you go. The movement that's powering this watch is the ETA, or value, 7750, which is, I guess you could say, the bread and butter of the Breitling watches. You will find this movement in a whole bunch of Breitling watches, and not only Breitlings. I mean, you will find this movement in a bunch of different watches, which I guess kind of attests to the quality of this movement. We have a date function here. We have quite a lot of text here under the Breitling logo. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Of course, I will touch more on this in the review of this watch, which I will be making in about 2 weeks or so. The case is, as I've said before, entirely polished. I do think that the finish work here on the watch is quite fantastic. And the bracelet, I gotta say, I'm very impressed with the bracelet. It is also entirely polished in the Breitling style. It's a very masculine watch and bracelet. It is heavy, it is thick, it is extremely sturdy, and it is sized with screws, as you can see there. The only thing about the bracelet that's maybe not this sturdy and awesome is the clasp. We have quite a basic clasp, which, I mean, in its own is not that bad, but I mean, you kind of expect a watch like this to have more of a solid clasp, and preferably also one with micro adjusting. It would be great to have a clasp with toolless micro adjusting, because you do have micro adjusting, but you do have to use a spring bar tool to adjust here. But yeah, overall, first impressions, this watch is, I mean, it's quite incredible actually. So let's pop it on the wrist and I'll show you how it wears on my 19.5 centimeter wrist, which I think is about 7.5 inches. So here you go, here's the watch. I think it wears very nicely. It is indeed a large watch, but I feel like with this design, you can't really make this watch that much smaller. I mean, this watch is kind of supposed to be a 44mm watch, and I think it fits that size very well. And on the wrist, as you can see, I mean, even though it is a large watch at 44mm, the lug-to-lug measurement is still very manageable at 48. In terms of aftermarket straps, I actually haven't checked the lug width, so let's do that. I am assuming that the lug width is 22, so I'll just check. Yeah, so this is a 22, and yeah, overall I'm quite impressed with this watch. I have to say, I've been eyeing these modern Breitlings for quite some time now, and now that I finally get to actually see one and hold one and wear one, I mean in the flesh, I do have to say I am impressed, and it has definitely lived up to my expectations. So yeah, expect a full review of this watch in a couple of weeks. And please do feel free to let me know what you think of this watch in the comment section down below. If you do have any questions about it, again, leave a comment and I'll do my best to answer. And with that said, thank you for watching, have a nice one, and I'll see you in my future videos. Bye bye.